Europe is now turning Russia's own money against it. Frozen Russian central bank assets, worth hundreds of billions, are being used to finance Ukraine's military effort. Across Europe and allied nations, roughly 140 billion euros, about $164 billion, of Russian central bank reserves are being repurposed to support Ukraine. But here's the key: these assets aren't being confiscated outright. Instead, they're being used as collateral for loans and military aid programs designed to sustain Ukraine's war effort. The profits generated from these immobilized funds, mostly from interest earned at financial institutions like Euroclear in Belgium, are redirected through EU programs like the European Peace Facility, which bankrolls arms deliveries and training. Under new EU regulations adopted in 2024, nearly all net profits from these frozen assets must flow into the EU budget, money that's now earmarked for weapons, equipment, and logistics for Ukraine. This approach keeps the principal assets frozen, in line with international law, while leveraging interest income to fund the fight. It's a legal workaround that avoids directly seizing Russia's sovereign wealth, which would breach global norms on state immunity. The system rests on a complex web of EU law. Regulations passed between 2022 and 2025 allow the EU to immobilize Russian central bank assets and redirect profits without breaching sovereignty. The core principle: the capital remains Russia's property. The profits generated in EU jurisdiction belong to the EU and can be used for Ukraine. In May 2024, Regulation 2024-1469 required Euroclear and other central depositories to transfer 99.7% of profits from frozen Russian assets directly to the EU budget. A companion decision, 2024-1470, earmarked those funds for Ukraine's military aid. While the funds flow to Ukraine, the biggest beneficiaries inside Europe are its leading defense industries. France, Germany, and Belgium stand to gain the most, thanks to their massive arms industries and political influence. According to EU records, these nations routinely win the majority of defense contracts, while smaller states like Poland, Czechia, and the Baltics struggle to compete despite their strong support for Ukraine. Belgium, as the home of Euroclear and the main holder of immobilized assets, also plays a unique role, acting as both the banker and a growing defense supplier. Globally, over $300 billion in Russian assets remain frozen, most of it in Europe. Transfers of profits began in mid-2024, and by late 2025, several billion euros have already been allocated to Ukraine's defense. Still, controversy surrounds how the money is distributed and who profits most. Critics warn that Europe's biggest economies dominate procurement, while others call for more transparency and fair access for smaller states. As U.S. aid to Ukraine declines, Europe's frozen asset fund is becoming a lifeline. Officials see it as vital for both Ukraine's survival and reconstruction, with estimated budgetary needs exceeding $65 billion through 2029. Meanwhile, Russia has threatened retaliation, including nationalizing Western companies inside its borders if its sovereign assets are ever confiscated outright. In the end, Europe's message is clear: the profits from Russia's frozen wealth will help pay for Ukraine's defense, a legal and political balancing act turning the Kremlin's own resources into fuel for Kiev's resistance. This is a historic financial experiment, where law, politics, and war intersect in the battle for Europe's future.